Good morning and welcome to Veterans Heartbeat on the Pulse of the Veteran, where we discuss issues of health, happiness, opportunity, and well-being of interest to the veteran community, their families, and the community who honors them.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Veterans Heartbeat, brought to you by River, the Rural Institute for Veterans Education and Research. My name is Jason Zentgraf. My co-host Ed Lasofsky is here with me, and he is the Executive Director of River. We welcome you to a weekly wide-ranging discussion of issues, events, opportunities, and needs in our veteran community. Morning, Ed. How you doing?
Morning, Jason.
We'd also like to thank our other sponsor, The Man Shop. It's a great place for a guy to get a haircut, so if you do need a haircut, swing on by and check them out. The gals there do a fantastic job. As said before, we are also sponsored by River, who offers many services to veterans, such as a weekly free vestibular disorder testing and educational programs that focus on veterans helping veterans. So hopefully, as many of you know, last weekend we had a VSAP, which is the Veteran Suicide Awareness and Prevention Half Marathon / awareness. So what that was all about was getting people out and getting awareness for the extremely high rate of veteran suicide that we have in our nation, especially that we have in our state. So it was a big turnout. We had over 1,000 people there. All the people putting it on did a fantastic job. River had a booth there. We had games for all the kids. We had big inflatable balls that the kids could climb inside and roll each other around. Nobody broke a limb, so that's good. We also had a ton of games from beanbag toss, ladder ball, falf, dart toss, a bunch of different games. The kids had a blast. We gave out hundreds of toys, and yeah, the parents seemed pretty content. Well, at least until one of our guys handed out all the whistles. So I got a bit much for most people. But overall, it was a fantastic barbecue. I mean, there were dozens of booths there. Anything that you could be interested in or want to be aware of, there was a booth for it. You know, every veterans organization and then some were there, and a lot of great people, a lot of good networking. And yeah, if you didn't make it, try to make it next year, because it's a great cause and it's a great time as well. They gave out over 1,200 I think hot dogs and hamburgers. So so everyone got fed, and it's for a good cause, and everybody had a good time. I'll hand it over to Ed so he can explain some exciting things coming up in the future. What do you got for us, Ed?
The barbecue itself was sponsored by Joining Community Forces, which is a group of veteran organizations that get together and try and work on the veterans' issues. So it was exciting to see so many veteran organizations working together on one event. Ran into several organizations working on veteran suicide. Kristen from the United Way and I were talking, and she's agreed to bring United Way into the symposium on veteran suicide this fall. That was really exciting, because now it's going to be, we're going to look for solutions and not just lip service, which has been going on too long. As of this morning, we got confirmation from Dr. Craig Billings, a psychologist that retired as an Army colonel, who developed several programs for the Department of Defense in working with veterans' issues, not just suicide. He wrote the book called Invisible Scars: How to Treat PTSD and Combat Stress Without Medication. Excitingly, he has agreed to be one of the head note and keynote speakers at the symposium coming up. And we also have Dr. Janet McCord from Marian University, and she is an expert in suicidology. So that's exciting that the Joining Community Forces have decided that they're going to come together, and we're going to actually put an action program and plan in place to help the veterans out there. The acronym that Dr. Billings came up with is HART, which is Human Assistance Rapid Response Team. So as many of the listeners have heard us talking about community paramedicine, this is as close as the legislature will let us go. We will be seeking out volunteers around the state that will put a team together to help veterans before they become in crisis. And even when they become in a crisis mode, we'll have these heart technicians available around the state. So that's really exciting. We will have, the symposium will have a call to action, and we will actually develop and finalize the planning of implementing the HEART program in Montana. First in the nation, folks. And it's exciting that we might actually get a handle on these suicides. That was real exciting at the event. The other thing that was exciting was we were right next door to Maggot Fest.
Sure was exciting, all right.
Oh, yeah, I just about wrecked the side-by-side a couple times.
Yeah, there were people walking around in crazy outfits or no outfits at all, if you catch my drift. So it was interesting.
But we ran into a group of rugby players and Dr. Troy Doxey, who practices here in Missoula. He is a combat vet and a chiropractor. And he was there just doing what Troy does, which was helping vets. And it's kind of exciting to see that we're all starting to come together to resolve this. Troy is on the Band of Brothers team, and they came from all over the nation. We had software developers. We had all kinds of people. We had a sergeant major that was in the, he was Special Forces, I'm not sure where. The other thing that I really want to give a shout out to is Shannon Noble from the Missoula Job Service. Her and Anton Johnson busted their tail to make this thing really a success, and there was over, like Jason said, over 1,000 people that were taken care of, and it was a family event. It was cool to see the kids out there having a good time. So that's the update. We're going to start giving you guys updates of what's going on in the past weekends in the veterans world. So if you have events that you want to report on, get a hold of Jason and I. We'll put it on the air for you.
Yeah, any veterans organization or any just veteran, if you have something specific you want to bring up to Veterans Heartbeat, get a hold of us. Shoot us an email at info@riverofchange.org or call us at 406-540-2302 or 406-273-8426. And, we'd love to have you on Veterans Heartbeat. Try to get as many people on as we can.
Speaking of which, the Memorial Day activities coming up today and tomorrow and Monday. We're going to have two guests on today. We're having Susan Renaud with United Veterans Council. She was on Talk Back earlier this week, and Sam Redford from United States of Hope, or USOH. Morning, Susan. Welcome to Veterans Heartbeat. How you doing this morning?
Oh, thank you so much for having me as your guest.
Well, now, before we go into this real deep, what is United Veterans Council?
We are a very small group of very dedicated volunteers. There are actually about 8 of us, believe it or not, that meet once a month, and we volunteer to help different groups, VFW, American Legion. We do ceremonies for the Never Forget ceremony on September 11th. We also do emergency help for veterans that are in need. If they are in need of electric help for their house, if they need food, if they need gasoline to get back and forth to work. We do fundraisers, and we are supported by the local VFW and American Legion groups, as well as anybody can donate to us. We're a nonprofit. We've been in existence since the Korean War, and I've been involved since the early 1990s, and we also do Memorial Day. And there needed to be a group that would kind of be an umbrella group, so people send representatives from different organizations.
So you were the original joining community forces.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I guess you could. I mean, that's kind of funny that you would say that. But it's been around for a long, long time, and we operate, very slimly. We don't, we only give a limited amount of money to each person, but we try to spread it out among as many veterans as we can. Last year, we helped out veterans that couldn't get toys for their children because they just simply did not have the money. And I mean, it varies from year to year. Mostly, we do emergency aid, and at Christmas, we do Santa socks. And that's a very special program that we started in 2008 to bring some just very simple joy to people at Christmas with a warm pair of socks filled with toys and a love, we call it a love note, thanking them for their service to our country.
Well, that sounds exciting. Now, you did talk quite a bit about this on Talkback. You've got the wreath-laying ceremonies coming up.
Yes, on Monday, the 29th of May. That is the 90th anniversary of Memorial Day services that have gone on in Missoula since 1927. And we at the United Veterans Council have been organizing the wreath ceremonies since the Korean War. I started doing them since 1990, I don't really remember, but I think 1994. I don't really remember. But we have a bus that is very generously donated with all the fuel and the driver by Beach Transportation, which, for your listeners, is the company that provides the school bus for all your children going back and forth to school. They provide a school bus for us and takes our honor and color guards all over town.
So, well, that's really exciting that Beach Transportation is going to be generously donating that. And you invited River to bring our quick response unit and escort the bus?
I think that sounds like so much fun. I hope that you will do that every year. We start at the VFW Hall at 245 West Main Street. We invite everybody to come down. There's a wonderful breakfast that is cooked by the VFW Auxiliary, led by Faye Bobbitt and her ladies, and we ask for a minimal donation if anybody wants to, and that starts at 7 in the morning, and then the charter bus of Honor and Color Guards leaves at 9:30 in the morning, and so we want people to start lining up behind the bus at 9:15, and then we're just going to start going around to all the different places, and we want you to be there, so that'll just be wonderful.
These services, they're more like, almost like a funeral event, very solemn.
Yeah, they're very solemn. As you and I both know, because we're involved with the veteran community, my father really had a hard time with Memorial Day. This was not a celebratory picnic time for him. This was not the time when he would go shopping. He was very reflective. Sometimes he would go to church. He lost his best friend in World War II. I would have been named Peter if I'd been a little boy. And so Memorial Day is very special to anyone that served in the military. And so we lay 36 wreaths out to all the different veteran memorials around town. And we also pay tribute to our firefighters, our EMTs, and our police officers that have died in the line of duty. And as you and I both know, but sometimes our listeners don't know, Memorial Day is to pay tribute to those that have died in honor of them who have given their ultimate sacrifice to our nation. It's not Veterans Day. This is not a celebration of all veterans. It is a celebration of those who have died in service to our country.
Yeah, we've got to give our prayers and our hearts to the family of the deputy that was slain over in Broadwater County not too long ago. So.
Well, and there's going to be a huge ceremony for him on Tuesday, and all of our thoughts are going to be with that family, and we're going to be doing we'll present an extra wreath at the police memorial at Rose Park this year in honor of him.
Well, that's great that you're doing all this, and it's been a struggle, been a long time. Now, you worked with Dan Gallagher, correct?
We did. Dan normally did Veterans Day services, and we did Memorial Day services, but he was a member of the United Veterans Council and a very dear friend of ours. He also was involved in Santa Socks and whatever else came up, and he did not normally go with us on Memorial Day. I think Memorial Day actually was kind of hard on him. But he was a wonderful supporter of veterans, and this will be the first year that he's gone from us. And his friend Dan Krieg also died at the same time. So it's kind of a little stunning that two Vietnam veterans, we've lost quite a number of Vietnam veterans recently.
Well, it's exciting what you're doing for the veterans. We sure appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
We are coming out of time here, but is there anything special you want to say to anybody?
Well, if anyone would like the rundown of where we will be at certain times around the city, it gets a little bit cumbersome to read it all out. The first one is going to be at Caris Park at 10 a.m., and they can email me at Blue Mountain, all one word, lowercase spelled out, bluemountain@montana.com. It is this Monday, the 29th of May, and we start at the VFW Hall at 245 West Main Street, and we just go from there. And it actually, believe it or not, it takes 5.5 hours for us to put out all the wreaths, because each wreath is as special as the next one. We do not rush it, and we play taps at each one, so we don't want anyone to feel as though their loved ones are being slighted.
Well, that's great. And we'll be posting the route and stuff on our Facebook page.
Oh, great.
So they can look us up on Facebook, the Rural Institute Veterans Education and Research, or River, and we'll have the information there.
And keep in mind that all of the times are approximate. We are completely dependent upon traffic. And as you and I both know, most people take Memorial Day off as a time to picnic and play volleyball. So the traffic usually is pretty hideous, and we're just going to get there when we get there. But it's a pretty we try to keep a pretty close schedule.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Susan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it being on your show.
All right, so we have Sam Redfern from United States of Hope on the line. How you doing, Sam?
Doing great. How are you doing today, Jason?
Not too shabby. Thanks for asking. So we just met with Susan, and she was talking about the wreath ceremony coming up on Memorial Day, and went through all the details of what's going on. And yeah, it was really helpful, and it's a fantastic ceremony, and River's just happy to be a part of it. What do you guys have going on for Memorial Day?
Well, we have participated the last 6 years in Memorial Day activities in Missoula with the United Veterans Council, and of course, I'm sure Susan relayed to your listeners that this is the 90th year of Memorial Day ceremonies in Missoula. In the past, we've had up to 12 ceremonies that involve, color guard, honor guard, prayer, and wreath ceremony at each of the Missoula cemeteries or locations where there are war memorials. And so we are going to participate. We'll do a little sunrise flower ceremony over at Fort Missoula, and it's just going to be a moment of silence, and anybody that would like to lay a flower or a rose, and that's going to be at sunrise, so get up early and at it and honor our nation's finest on Memorial Day. And then we will participate with the United Veterans Council on the wreath ceremonies in different capacities. We've had some of our staff sing for the event or do prayers or just help with setup and logistics. It's a great community effort, and we have a great morning that starts at the Karis Park location and then ends at the University of Montana, Iraq, and Afghanistan Memorial.
So, Sam, this is Ed.
Hello, Ed.
What other activities are going on for veterans that you know of on Memorial Day?
Well, there is outside of the Missoula events, there's always a pancake breakfast there at the VFW post. And then for, our veterans in the Bitterroot, there's ceremonies all throughout the Bitterroot that seek to honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for this nation. And we do also just want to remind your viewers, Ed and Jason, that don't think your veterans on Memorial Day. This is save that for Veterans Day. This is a day to really remember and honor those who've given everything to this country.
Yeah, and not just veterans. I mean, firefighters, policemen, anyone who has served their country and had unfortunately lost their life, correct?
Well, Memorial Day is specifically for the armed forces, but we do recognize the sacrifice. Even at our events in Missoula, we really do. I'm reminded of the passing of one of our Montana's finest deputies recently, and we do honor those who wear the uniform. As Jason said, the firefighters and EMS community as well. That's something we add to this event and the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony every September as well, as part of the United Veterans Council, because they too have worn the uniform and served their country, and some have also given the ultimate sacrifice. But Memorial Day specifically is for the armed forces of the military who've lost their lives for this nation.
Yeah, well, we think it's fantastic that the United Veterans Council, United States of Hope, and other organizations are also taking in these first responders. They see terrible things as well and experience, heartbreak. So it's really admirable that you that your organizations are recognizing them as well.
Well, Sam, the other thing that we got to remember on these Memorial Days is the veterans that have completed suicide. And I know that you've worked with it quite a lot. I've worked with it quite a lot. So we would like to have everybody remember that that is something that we need to open our hearts and prayers for, is the families. We, during the run last weekend, I saw 3 families that I had counseled that lost a veteran. So that's important for everybody to remember this weekend. The other thing is we announced this morning that we're developing the HART program, Human Assistance Rapid Response Team, for veterans in the state of Montana. And I know that you will be participating in that. And we announced that we will be doing a Veterans Call to Action Suicide Symposium, and we will come out of there with the development on the HART program. So we really appreciate the fact that you're coming on board with those 2 activities.
Absolutely, Ed and Jason. We are so excited about the innovative work of River and other organizations that serve veterans. And you're absolutely right. The memory of those who've fallen. Not all war wounds are seen, as you know, Ed, and many are unseen, and the families should be cherished and loved on this Memorial Day weekend. And if I could add one more thing, the Memorial Day weekend is a hard weekend for many veterans, especially the families that you have brought up, Ed, and for all those Gold Star families, and for all the families that have lost a loved one who served in our armed forces, we cherish and love you.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Sam. And we're short on time. We'll be talking to you later.
Thank you, Ed and Jason. Have a great day.
You as well, Sam. Thanks
for all your work for veterans.
Well, that concludes it for Veterans Heartbeat. We're so appreciative of Susan from United Veterans Council, as well as Sam from United States of Hope, coming on, talking about different ceremonies coming up this Memorial Day, and we appreciate everything that they're doing for our servicemen and women out there and the veterans. Again, thank you very much for listening to Veterans Heartbeat. We'd not be able to bring it to you without all the support of the listeners. And thank you again to the Man Shop for sponsoring the show. If you're in need of a great haircut, swing on by and get a snip. The gals there do a great job. Also, thank you to our main sponsor, River, the Rural Institute for Veterans Education and Research. They have an array of services such as a veterans-focused education, a free vestibular disorder clinic, and many more services. Check them out on Facebook or on the web at riverofchange.org. Lastly, we would like to show our appreciation to all of our veterans. Thank you for serving our country and keeping us safe.